Welcome back to the channel. My name is Douglas, and in today's video, I wanted to walk you through the assign functionality on the Roland V-Stage. Let's jump right into it. I've got this scene called up BB4 Kind of Felt. Not really anything assigned to this sound right now, so we're going to get right to work. Now we can get to the assign menu in a couple of different ways. The fastest is just by tapping on the assign button. The other way we can get to it is go to menu, come over to our scene, press down on the encoder, and move over to the assign menu there. So same thing, much faster, just to tap on the assign button. Now within the assign menu, we have pedal 1, pedal 2, pedal 3, pitch, mod, break, and speed as our device controls that are available to assign parameters to. So we've got 4 control inputs on the back, but one of them is for the sustain pedal. It says hold/R. That one is for your sustain pedal, not available to assign within here. The pedal 1, pedal 2, pedal 3 are these pedals over here. Could be momentary switches, could be volume style expression pedals. I have a Yamaha FC7 volume style expression pedal plugged in here. There's a variety. Roland makes some, Nord makes some, but I've had the Yamaha for a while, works well. And so I have that plugged into pedal 1 just to show you a couple of things here. Now within these, we have the ability to choose whether or not that assignment is for just the scene that's called up. And if we were to save this, it would save it to the scene, or if we want to make that a system-wide control. So if I wanted to set up, let's say, synth A volume to be set to my volume style expression pedal, for any scene I call up, I could set that at the source level. And we can change that between scene and source by scrolling our encoder underneath the screen. Now we can move back and forth between all of these different parameters within the menu, and when we get to the last one, it jumps to the next control, or we could hold shift and we could move through the different control pages at the top. So the 3 pedals, the pitch, the modulation wheel, and then these 2 assignable buttons here, the break and the speed, we can assign those to different things. Think of those as momentary switches that you can either hold or tap to perform different things. So let's come over to here. Let's go with the volume style expression pedal first. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're making assignments is you'll notice all of these parameters here on the screen are blinking. And that means these are assignable parameters for this control. And so even though the level knob isn't pulsing, we can assign that one still to our expression pedal. So let's do that first. Let's come over here, and last on the polarity, we can set that to standard or reverse. So if it's a momentary pedal and it's working in reverse, so let's say we have the rotary slow fast speed set to a pedal on the floor. So we can change the organ Leslie speed with a pedal. If it's fast when we're not pressing it and it's slow when we are pressing it and we want it reversed, we can reverse that here with the polarity. Some pedals actually have a switch on them to change that as well, so check that out. So let's move through here, and right now all of these are actually set to a volume style expression pedal. So if I just play this, it's controlling the volume of all of my layers. It's not quite down to 0, but it's pretty close. So we could come back to these and we could just turn them off so that only our synth A and synth B so now those are the only ones that are getting that volume adjustment. But what if it was on something different? So you've watched me, I've scrolled through here, but there's a better way. If you press down, you get this nice list that you can scroll through and find your parameter. Now, what's great about this is outside of the volume level, which it doesn't work to do that, But let's say I want the filter frequency cutoff instead of the volume. All I need to do is turn that parameter and it automatically jumps up to the Assign Edit menu with that parameter set. So you can see cutoff is set there. And then it allows me to set the min and the max range. So then I can jump down and I can set that range here. So let's say I want to go -64 all the way to +63. The volume's not very high, so let me bring that up. Now the range is huge, so let's just bring that from, let's go 0, somewhere in there. So again, you can set that min and the max range for that value. And if I'm in this Assign Edit and let's say turn a control, notice how it's jumping right to that control for me. Saves me a lot of time. So back on cutoff, let's say I want to save that. I can just push down on that and that saves that value. Now, what's interesting about this is, let's say brightness on the piano, I want that to be set for the piano part. I don't have to necessarily be on the part. I can just move the controls and whatever part they're associated to, it's going to assign it to that part here in the screen. So you can move pretty quickly and make your assignments. Now, one thing to keep in mind though, is that you can't assign more than one parameter within a part to the same control. So let's say I wanted to have both my volume level and my filter cutoff frequency to work together on the volume style expression pedal. So as I brought, let's say, the volume in, the filter frequency went down. And so having kind of a reverse of that. Can't do that because we can only assign one parameter per part per control. So just keep that in mind. Now I could assign, two different volume style expression pedals, one in pedal 1, one in pedal 2, and I could do that there. So let's come over to, I'm gonna hold shift and come over to the modulation wheel. Now for this, there's no polarity on that because it's just a modulation wheel. So let's say on our piano section here, we wanna come and have the brightness to be the value tied to our modulation wheel. So now as I move that, again, if I want to save that, I push down. So that's how we assign things to, let's say, the modulation wheel. Pitch, we could do the same thing. Right now it's set to bend on my two synthesizer parts. And then let's talk about the break and the speed. So on these, we have a little bit of a different control here. So we have mode, which is either momentary or latch. So what that means is, right now it's set to latch. So let's change it to momentary. Let's turn our organ section on. So using the traditional button here for the speed, pressing it cycles between slow and fast. Whereas we've changed our speed button here to be momentary, meaning it's only going to be fast when I'm holding the button. When I let go, it's going to go to slow. So maybe not something I would use with an organ, but let's say I wanted to tie vibrato or something like that to it for our synth part. We could do that by assigning that to the speed button and then making it momentary. So when we hold it, vibrato's on. When we let go, vibrato's off. So we can change that here. And then within here, one thing I wanted to show is this system tile right here. So it's been off for all of these, but let's say we want to turn that on, and we could choose from a variety of different system parameters: tap tempo, next scene, previous scene. So let's say we wanted to set these two up to be our next scene on the speed button, and then on the brake button, we wanted that to be our previous scene. So let me just move out of here so you can see this work. But as I'm tapping, it moved forward to the next scene. Now, because I had that set to a scene parameter, it got rid of that when I moved to the next scene because it loaded up whatever was in that scene. So to fix that, I would want to come over here, go to brake, and change that to system, go to speed, change that to system, and then come down here and then make this next scene, previous scene. And then if I save that, then I can move back and forth. So let's do that real quick. I'm gonna write that and say, okay. So now when I come in here, I can move up and I can move down on my scenes with those buttons right there. And they're nice, big, kind of nice tactical buttons. So up, down on my scenes, I could save, I could have that be tap tempo, whatever I want that to be for those system parameters. And again, those system ones exist for the other controls. I just think they're more useful maybe on those buttons rather than on a volume style expression pedal. We can even have the effects like delay on-off switch, have that set to there. We could have shift. That's another kind of nice use if we're over here and we don't want to have to find this little shift button. So lots of different parameters that we can set to these to allow us to speed up our workflow as we're using the V-Stage. So hopefully that was helpful in giving you an idea of where the assign menu is, how we assign things to the controls we have plugged into the keyboard or the controls that we have over here on the left of the keyboard. If you have any questions with what I went over in this video, feel free to throw those down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, stay inspired, and keep making that music.